Hello and welcome to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com. It's the PlayOnSports.com pregame show live from Spartan Stadium in Sammamish, Washington. I'm Alex Webster with former University of Washington linebacker Taj Bomar on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Tonight's matchup features the visiting Issaquah Eagles against the host Skyline Spartans. Issaquah comes into tonight's game with an overall record of 4-3, while the home team Skyline is undefeated at 7 and it should be a fantastic matchup as we've got a couple of teams. Skyline, a fantastic squad. They know they're in the postseason. Issaquah, they're battling to get there.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. You got a divisional game here. Playoff seeding's on the line. It's going to be a big task for Issaquah to come out and try to pull this upset off. But they do have a guy that can really help them in Jack Galatly, number 5 for Issaquah. He's going to be a big part of what they do tonight if they're going to have a chance in coming out with a victory here at Spartan Stadium.
Well, they're going to battle the Skyline Spartans, who are top-ranked in the state. They're the defending state champions at the 4A level, and they're going to play for the KingCo Conference Championship next week against either Bothell or Woodinville. And when you talk Skyline, you talk about Max Brown, consensus top quarterback in all the land. He's heading to USC next year.
Right, yeah, he's a great pocket passer, great size. And when you talk about recruiting, it's all about the potential, the size, what you can project out to be at the next level. And he has all the size for a prototypical quarterback at the next level. Good accuracy, arm strength, very poised. Even when they've been down this year, you don't have any fears from Max Brown. It's
senior night here at Skyline High School. They take on their in-district rival, the Issaquah Eagles, and they do that coming up here in just a few moments. That's going to do it for tonight's PlayOnSports.com pregame show. We'll be back with the kickoff in just a few moments. Friday Night Football begins next on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Welcome back to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, coming to you live from Sammamish, Washington. I'm Alex Webster with Taj Bomar on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Tonight's matchup featuring the 4-3 Issaquah Eagles against the 7-0 Spartans of Skyline High School. Issaquah winning the toss earlier, and so I believe they're electing to kick off, and it will be the Spartan offense that will get the ball first in this one. Issaquah coming off of a big win over Ballard last week, 49-28. Jack Galatly already had 10 touchdowns on the season coming into that one. He had 4 more in that one. 14 touchdowns already this season. A fantastic start for Jack Galatly, toting the ball for 20 times for well over 200 yards. As we mentioned before, he's going to be critical in this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, performances like this runs in his bloodline. There's a line of Galatlys that have played at Issaquah that have done very well for the school. And you're right, I think he's going to have 20-plus touches in rushing, no matter what it is, receiving, punt return. You got to get him the ball if you're going to have a chance. So he's going to have to be a workhorse tonight if Issaquah is going to come out on top here.
Head coach of the Skyline Spartans is Matt Taylor, a graduate of Central Washington University in his 5th year at the helm of the Skyline program. All he's done is won a couple of state championships in that timeline. They've won in 2011, 2009, 2008, 2007, 2005. I get tired just reading that off, as I know a lot of KingCo foes have run into that as well here at the 4A classification in KingCo. Issaquah Eagles, they're going to kick it off, and they've got a good one in Alex Shane as he will line things up to get this ball game underway. The head coach for the Issaquah Eagles, Chris Bennett, he was the 09 4A KingCo Crest Division Coach of the Year. And this one underway, and they get it back deep. This one's fielded back there, and there's some running room for the Spartans, but a big hit by Issaquah as the return Knocked down at the 20-yard line. Nick Splendorio on the return. A good one, but a huge hit by Issaquah.
Yeah, and in this open drive here, it's going to be very important for Issaquah to come out and set the tone up front and get some pressure on Max Brown. One of the things you have to do is jump out early on Skyline if you want to have any kind of chance. They show them they can come back, but to give yourself a chance, you want to jump out on top of Skyline early.
Well, that's what Newport did last week. They got up to a 14-0 lead, but did them little good. They ended up losing 56-28 because Max Brown fired up for 4 touchdowns. He'll run the offense here for Skyline here in his final senior night appearance, or I should say his senior night appearance, the last guaranteed home game for Skyline, but depending on how things play out, they could certainly be back here next week to play for the conference championship. Brown taking his time, the big 6'2 quarterback handing off inside, and the Eagles in this rivalry contest fired up right away.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about there. Getting that penetration up front by the front 7 to stop that inside zone play or trap right up the middle there. Good job by Issaquah up front.
Brown, 328 yards on 20 of 25 passing last week in that victory over Newport. He is on his way to USC next season. He's hoping to wrap up school early and graduate early and get a head start down there in the spring. He'll take the snap here out of the shotgun, looking long down the right sideline. A little interference, perhaps. Nope, the legs tangled up, and a good no call there, as the hometown fans wanted the call, but they're not going to get it down that right sideline.
Yeah, that was just your classic incident of the receiver and defensive back getting their feet tangled up there. But overall, that was a very good job there by Derek Chapman of Issaquah, playing good coverage there. Nice job.
Nick Splendorio was the intended receiver, 6'1", 190-pound senior. Good number of seniors who've had a tremendous ride here at Skyline. They'd like to finish it off with a KingCo championship and, dare we say, another state championship. Brown rolling out this time, has some time, finds a receiver, and he's going to be close to the sticks for a first down. Needs to get to the 31, and I think just got past it. So the Spartans out here early. Took them a couple of plays, but they got a first down.
Yeah, and you see right here, Skyline comes out in this no-huddle shotgun formation, and, they look to the sideline based upon what the defense is going to do. They make their adjustments there. So this is going to be a big chess match, despite the physical part of the football game, but big chess match here too.
The give is to Cedric Cooper, who finds a little bit of running room and then scatters out of bounds. He's close to another first down and may have it. Looks like he's going to be about a yard or so shy. Nope, don't move him. Was looking at the wrong linesman. You do that sometimes out here.
But getting back to that play there, you got 2 back-to-back first downs here. And if you're Issaquah, you can't give up big plays. You got to make Skyline drive, earn their points. No easy points.
Cooper, a good one. Had 67 yards rushing and a score last week. Brown surveying the scene as it looks like we might have been correct. They are moving the chains back. There was a preliminary indication of a first down. They moved the chains, and an overly eager chain crew here, and it will bring up second and short. So I guess I wasn't looking at the wrong linesman. Nice to know I can get something right. So Brown, second and short. They run the spread here, as you can tell. And Brown trying to put some touch on this one. He's got a man, and Trevor Barney, and he can't get it. Spartans fans wanting another hanky to fly out. We haven't had one yet, but they're looking for interference on that one. Not going to get it. It'll be third and short.
Yeah, nice job there by number 15, Ken Norton III. Nice rangy guy, about 6'2", over 190 pounds. Good job of playing the receiver's hands. When you see that receiver's eyes get big and you're secondary and you're trailing, you see the receiver's eyes get big, his hands go up, you react too.
Brown, the big guy there, going to hand it off. Cooper stopped initially, finds some running room to the outside, picks up the first down and a little bit more as he clambers near midfield. And we've got some prolonged whistling from the official here as they, I think, want to make sure they get the spot right this time. And they do. They, I think, are, after the eagerness of the chain crew, want to make sure that they get set and ready to go appropriately and move only when it's the first down. Just underway, 10:45 to go in this first quarter. Skyline taking the opening kickoff and now driving after collecting a few first downs. A little too tall for Trevor Barney again. Barney, a 5'9", 175-pound senior out of the slot.
Yeah, most people might think, oh, Max Brown, obviously he's the number one, quarterback in the nation going to USC. But he's more athletic than you would think. He can move around. He did a nice job of moving around, buying some time there. But good job by the Issaquah secondary. They're going to have to mix up their coverages, too. You can't just give Max Brown and the Skyline offense one look. He'll dice you up. So you'll see a lot of one safety coverage, cover two type deals, too, as well.
2nd and 10. They want to go on the run. Cooper, they've used him a couple of times. Can't find any room this time. Cedric Cooper, 5'9", 165-pound senior. We've said that word a lot, senior.
Yeah, and if I was thinking right, Skyline has about 29 seniors here that are playing, so I'm going to go out on a strong note.
It was quite a lineup when they had the senior night celebration before we got on the air. Brown, plenty of time, gets flushed a little bit. Off-balance throw, complete for the first down and more. He finds Barney. Barney, the early intended receiver, getting a lot of targets here in the opening drive.
Yeah, and these last two plays, you've seen Brown have to move around a little bit. So a good job initially by Issaquah in the secondary, but you got to have a little bit more pass rush. You can't give him that much time. That's too long for your secondary to try to cover. You got to get a pass rush on him and get him to the ground.
Skyline in the hunter green, silver and white. The Issaquah Eagles wearing the white jerseys, their traditional colors. Your favorite, purple and gold.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm pretty sure all of us in the state were growing up, that's our favorite color at some point.
Brown going to keep it this time. I think that was either designed or a busted play. He'll get a couple of yards, but that's not what you want to have happen with Brown out there. You don't want to let the other team have a whack at him.
No, you want to keep him healthy because if he goes down, there's obviously going to be problems. He's arguably your best player, on the team. You got to keep him upright and healthy.
Skyline cranking out nearly 58 points a game, their biggest quarter, the first quarter, where they average over 22 points. And they're well on their way here. This one a sustained drive, not a quick hitter. They've been known for those as well, but Eagles trying to find an answer. They won't hear on this one. Good catch and run, close to another first down. That's Nick Splendorio.
Yeah, Nick's a guy that you got to kind of look out for. He has an offer from Northern Colorado. He's a captain tonight. He's a guy that's kind of under the radar. If you put him on your team, I think he can make something happen for you at the next level, at the division. Probably not, your D1 guy, but Eastern, Montana, that kind of deal. He's a nice ball player. Good in the return game as well.
Well, the chains have come into play a lot on this drive, and it looks like they are eyeballing it right now to see if they are close to the first down or if they're even going to measure at this point. We've already seen a misstep, and so now Skyline's going to go back and huddle up. And for the Eagles, maybe an opportunity to catch a little breather. I know this is just the first quarter, but Skyline, a very potent offense, and they will come in and measure. And an opportunity to share with you the officiating crew for tonight. Referee Gavin Anderson leading that crew out there. The umpire Chris Cobray. Linesman Eric Weisberg, line judge Mike Crawford, and back judge Glenn Gass.
Yeah, but getting back to your comment about this is a sustained drive, but if you're Issaquah, I think that's kind of what you want. You can't give up big plays and think your offense is going to come back out and match them score for score. So if you're on defense, when you have opportunities to mix it up, get a pass rush, blitz up the middle, you got to take your chance. If you're going to come out with an upset, take your chance. But if you're Issaquah, make Skyline earn their drives and earn their points. Don't give up anything easy.
And we saw a little bit of that in Thursday Night Football in the NFL last night as the Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers have a little bit of a similar philosophy on defense as well against a lot of teams. Extend them out, and you never know what's going to happen. Even on some of those occasions, you get a long run. Let's get that tackle. Even if it's down around the 10 or 15-yard line, you still got a shot, and you can see an interception in the end zone, a fumble. Anything can happen out there.
Right. No, as long as you keep Skyline having to execute, I think that it's in your favor. Now, they're very good executing, but I'd rather make them earn it than give them up a big 60-yard pass play.
8:29 to go in the opening quarter, and Skyline just a wee bit short, so third and less than a yard to go. As Max Brown and company ready to go. Twins to the high side. They're going to hand it off. And the Eagles jutting in there. I'm not sure if he got that one. Cedric Cooper dodging would-be tacklers in there is dropped, and I think he might be short.
Yeah, I think you're right, Alex. Good eye. He, that initial penetration, I couldn't quite catch the number, but that sidestep he had to make really kind of slowed him up there and held him short on that first down try.
And it will be 4th down, and I think you're kind of at that spot in the field where you might as well go for it. You're at about the 31. Punt's not going to do it. It's probably too far for a kick, even for Sean McDonald here, their place kicker. So they will go for it on 4th and short. The heavy set package in there. They're going to go to Brown. We've got a flag, our first one of the game. Looks like he's got enough for it, but we'll have to settle things out here after we see the hanky fly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought Skyline would do, was a quarterback sneak there, a quarterback draw, whatever you want to call it. You got a big quarterback, 6'4". Let him use that length that he has and get a couple inches for you.
Issaquah players clapping out there, thinking this one may go against Skyline. And they are actually waving it off, and it's a first down for the Spartans. Very interesting. We still haven't had a penalty in this one, even though we've had some interesting situations, keeping the officiating crew busy so far.
Right, yeah, not quite sure what they initially saw to want to throw that flag, but obviously they congregated there and waved the flag off.
Well, that's actually what you want to see. You want to see the officials get together, talk about it. It's something we didn't see in the NFL with the replacement refs. Seahawks fans may be fine with that, but conversation is good out there for both the teams as well as the teams in black and white out there, and a good run in the middle. They are not just one-dimensional with Brown. They like to hand it off a lot, and Cedric Cooper is their main man back there.
Yeah, they got a lot of ways they can beat you, Skyline. You got Cooper, Splendid-Rio, Barney. They got plenty of guys, and they're actually down a couple guys. I mean, Peyton Pelor, he's a guy up front that they could be using for blocking and whatnot. So very talented football team in Skyline. Could beat you in more than one way.
It's opening drive taking already more than 5 minutes off of this first quarter clock. Now under 7 minutes to go. Brown looking back to the short side, little screen, and he finds his receiver, but good tackling by Issaquah so far. That was Andrew Geese, 6'2 senior, wideout coming up with that one. I know they wanted more out of that after the catch.
Right, yeah, that's a play to look out for here too. Wide receiver screens and also screens to the running back, Cooper. Skyline likes to do that, dump it off, especially if you're showing zone coverage. They'll dump it off for you and make your secondary defensive backs come up and try to make a tackle in open field.
3rd and 4. Brown, little read option this time, does give it off to Cooper, who dodges his way past more tacklers, is still alive, into the flat, and has finally tripped up inside the 10.
Boy, what some great moves in there, huh?
Wow.
Great lateral quickness and movement there by Cooper. I mean, about 3 or 4 guys missed him, but he steadily kept his legs moving, and like I said, very good lateral movement there by Cooper.
Cooper averaging over 52 yards per game. I think he's going to get that maybe on this drive. Maybe not, but they hand it off to him again. A steady diet of Cooper in that middle, and Issaquah coming out of the pile. The whistle blew, but they say, hey, I got it, and I'm going for it. Chaz Peterson, the senior linebacker, running away with that one. Peterson having to play some quarterback earlier in the year when Jack Neary, their starting quarterback, started the season injured, is now back in there. Of course, we've got to wait to see Neary after this drive settles. But right now, 5:21 to go in the first. Skyline using a lot of time and going so far about 75 yards on this drive. Split backs. They go in motion. Little option on that dive again. And once again, Cooper met by a host of white shirts.
Yeah, sometimes this is now Skyline executes very well, 58 points per game. But sometimes with these spread offenses, when they get down here in the red zone, Alex, the space confined, so defense doesn't have as much room to worry about covering. So they can be a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes spread teams have a tougher time getting in the end zone here, but Skyline's very good at executing to get into the end zone.
3rd and goal. And the handoff, or rather the carry into the end zone. Good for the score. Max Brown on the ground. Touchdown, Skyline, with 4:37 to go.
Yeah, pretty much just a quarterback dive right. He lowers his shoulder. Touchdown. And that was a nice drive there, though. Like I said, you're not going to rattle Skyline. They've won their championships, won it last year, got 6 in the showcase here at Skyline High School. So you're not going to rally them. They know how to win. They know how to make drives when they need to.
Sean McDonald, the kicker, coming in on this one. He's been a busy extra point kicker this season, as you might imagine. And this one up, and it is good. So with 4:37 to go in the first quarter, a long drive by the Skyline Spartans to take the first lead in this rivalry matchup of Issaquah School District teams. And we'll see what comes up next for the Issaquah Eagles as they'll get their first hack on offense here in just a moment.
Yeah, one thing to look out here, Skyline's only had 2 close games this season. Game number 1 versus Bothell. Bothell has a nice array of players they can use, but what Bothell did was they mixed up the play calling, screens, draws, rollouts. But they got some nice players over there at Bothell. But I think Issaquah has to come out and mix up their play calling. Keep Skyline on their heels, keep them off balance. You can't just come out and hand the ball off to Jack Gallatley up the middle and think you're going to get 5 yards every time. You're going to have to mix it up and get him the ball in different ways. Motion, empty the formations. Mix it up if you're Issaquah to try to keep Skyline off balance.
The Eagles of Issaquah will try and answer. They've got Reed Peterson back deep as one of the return men, joined back there by Derek Chapman as well. And it will be kicker Sean McDonald who will tee this one up and put it into play here in just a moment. And here we go as the Eagles get their hands on the ball for the first time. Looking for the return. This is Peterson. Trying to get outside and can't, and he's brought down with the face mask, I believe, as a plethora of yellow hurried onto the field by the officials. And we'll wait for them to settle it out here. Skyline taking a page out of kind of what Issaquah wants to do on offense. Eat a lot of clock, keep that potent offense for Skyline off the field. Right. They do have the personal foul on the face mask, so the Eagles will get better field position. Out probably near the 25, maybe the 26-yard line.
Yeah, I believe that's a 15-yard penalty.
Yep, that's the big face mask penalty right there. And here comes Jack Neary leading his offense onto the field. Neary with a couple of touchdown passes from distance last week in the big 49-28 win. He had 2 long bombs, 46 and 24 yards, looking for Craig Greewey and Reed Peterson, names that we'll hear in this one, I'm sure. But the big guy is Jack Gallatley. 14 touchdown runs already on the season, 4 last week in that win over Ballard. And they'll go right to him here. And he finds some good running room right off the bat. Still on his feet out near the sticks. And possibly a first down, but we see another penalty flag. And we'll see if the 2 rivals here duking it out here out of the Issaquah School District. No love lost there in the middle of the field.
Yeah, getting physical out there might have been a little bit of extra activity.
And this now against Skyline. So on the last 2 plays, 30 yards and penalties, add a 10-yard run onto it. And so something that would have started back at about the 11-yard line is going to be out near midfield here. And perhaps into Spartan territory. As they march this one off, it will be in Spartan territory. So the Eagles trying to answer, getting some assistance from the Spartans with the penalty flags.
Yeah, and hey, if you're Issaquah, you say thank you. I'll take it. Nothing's free, but hey, if you're going to give up free yardage, I'm pretty sure they'll be gladly to take it.
Well, we'll see what they do now into Spartan territory. Here's Neary putting a man in motion. Now Twins to the high side of the screen. They hand off to Gallatley, and he's past the 45, down near the 44-yard line. Another good carry, and you can tell the Eagles doing exactly what we would have thought they would do.
Right.
Working it heavily to Gallatley, and right now, Spartans giving up 15 yards on a couple of carries.
Yeah, and what we're going to see is if Issaquah can stay successful with running the ball with Gallatley up the middle, off tackle, that's going to try to set up the play action, the rollouts. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of chess match if Skyline wants to bring a safety down in the box to try to stuff Gallatley. I don't think they want to do that. I think they feel they're good enough up front to be able to stop that, but we'll see what happens.
Gallatley shuffling across. He'll get the handoff from Neary. Met in the hole and still carries forward. Maybe gets a couple on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
Yeah, he kind of ran into a stone wall there by the Spartan defense.
3rd and 3.
But if you're Issaquah, 3rd and 3, that's a very, very manageable 3rd down situation to be in. So I don't think you should be worried. You have free will here to call what you like.
Out of the eye this time. A little more traditional power eye offense. Here's the handoff to Galatly, and if you need 3 yards, where are you going to go? You're going to give it to your main man, and Galatly picking up the first down.
Boy, and they're getting physical up front there, that Issaquah front line. You got Roch up there. You got Peterson, Veach. Guys getting physical, opening up that hole there. It was just a ISO right there, 72 dive if you want to call it, right at the Spartan defense.
Well, Issaquah, a team that had high expectations coming into the season. They were ranked in the top 10 after the first couple of weeks of play, but had some struggles. They got a win over Interlake, but then lost to Mount Si and fell out of the top 10. And a good dive in there by the defense of Skyline to knock down the running back in the backfield.
Yeah, and you can see the Skyline defenders creeping up. Those safeties are up a little bit tighter compared to the previous plays, and their backers are shooting those gaps, trying to hit those open holes there, stop that running game.
Call it a loss of 1 on the play, thereabouts. Issaquah 4-3, a little bit disappointing. Tough losses at Newport, and I think the biggest one they wish they had back was against the Roosevelt Rough Riders back at the end of September. They lost 21-17 at home, and right now that's their main competition in the middle of the division. But I think they'd love to get another shot at them somewhere down the road in the playoffs. Here's Galatly on another big carry. He's carrying guys with him down inside the 25-yard line. Yet another Eagle first down.
Yeah, that's the bread and butter for Issaquah. Give it to Galatly, see what he can do with it. And he's a downhill north-south runner. He's not going to go lateral too often. He's going to get the hard yards, be a workhorse for you.
14 touchdowns on the season, over 200 yards last week, carrying the ball 20 times. And we've got a little bit of an equipment timeout here for the moment as one of the Skyline players has to get a change-up. That'll cause a little bit of a substitution as Josh Wright will come into the defensive line here. Here's Galatly, another hole, gets into that second layer after picking up 4, maybe 5. And this first quarter almost coming to a close. We're under 90 seconds left to go, and I'm not sure that Skyline has seen this too often where they've had just maybe 1.5, maybe 2 possessions in just 1 quarter of action without a running clock.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't expect that considering they put up 58 points per game. But like you said, they sometimes they can kind of start slow, and then they'll just come out in the second quarter and just, put teams away, no problem.
Well, if the Eagles are able to equalize here, now with 62 seconds to go in the quarter, we'll see a little bit of movement, and finally they get it called. It was over on the left side. I think it was the tight end or the wingman for Issaquah that had that little bit of movement. Mac Nisbet, 6'2", 180-pound tight end there. And that'll back him up. That'll take away what Galatly had picked up just a few moments ago. 2nd down and 10 with 56 seconds to go in the first quarter. 7-0. Top-ranked team in the state, Skyline, taking on their Issaquah school district rival, the Issaquah Eagles. Issaquah, the longtime school in this district. Skyline, the newcomer here a little over a decade ago. Here's Neary under center. We'll see if they go to Galatly. One more time. Why not? If it ain't broke, why fix it? Galatly getting to the outside. Penalty flag down. He gains about 5 before he's pushed to the turf, but this one in the area of holding.
Yeah, on this drive, you had Skyline. They came out, gave up 2 penalties. Issaquah gets a nice drive down the field. Now they got 2 penalties, give him some of those free yards right back to Skyline here.
Well, and it's going to be a big bunch. It wasn't holding, or maybe it was. It was holding of the face mask. That's the big penalty. A 15-yarder marched off. It's going to bring up 2nd and 25. And that's how many seconds we have left in this first quarter.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time this year, Alex. If you're a team that's kind of the underdog, trying to beat the big dog, you can't beat yourself with penalties. And, game's still early, but they were up on the 20-yard line. Now they're back on the 45-yard line here. You're losing yardage. You're putting yourself out of position to score against a very potent Skyline team.
Well, and you take yourself out of your strength, which is the running game with Galatly, and now they come out with a spread offense. Galatly will be the lone setback, but 2 receivers to either side. Of Corner's coming up to try and play a little press coverage. They still go to Gallatley. Why not? Looking for a big hole in the middle. They get a little one. Pickup of about 4. And that may be our final play of this opening quarter.
Yeah, those 2 penalties really put Issaquah in a bind, play calling wise.
Yeah, it'll bring up a big third down, 3rd and about 21. And that will be the first play of the second quarter because time has expired. And I'll tell you what, if Issaquah could have scripted a start, this might have been option B. I think option A would have been, hey, let's be in the lead. Option B would be, hey, let's not be down too much. Well, they've managed to run off 1 quarter of play, and this is something that teams just don't do against Skyline, is to leave the first quarter trailing by just 7.
Right, but like I said earlier, the games that were close, Bothell and Newport, they jumped out early. Now, obviously, Issaquah hasn't jumped out early on them, but you keep the game close, keep it tight. Like I said, don't give up any big plays. Milk this thing as long as you can to the fourth quarter. Hey, if it's, 3-point game, 7-point game, maybe you make a play or 2. You come out with the upset victory. You never know what can happen. Friday Night Football.
Friday Night Football. Beautiful October evening here on the plateau in Sammamish, Washington. 52 degrees at kickoff. Light wind about 13 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation about 61%. And hopefully this weather will continue and give both these teams an opportunity to celebrate senior night here in Sammamish, Washington at Spartan Stadium, home of the top-ranked and defending state champion Spartans.
Yeah, we've been here before, and there's been a big downpour, big windstorm, and totally get drenched.
Well, that's Northwest weather, but we've dodged that most of the season this year. Big 3rd and 21 for the Eagles. Neary to the air, I believe for the first time, trying to escape some trouble, and he can't. Loss of about 5, just outside or just inside the 40-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th down, and we'll see what the Eagles look to do here, probably in punting mode to try and give Skyline the long field to go.
Yeah, nice job by number 55, Josh Wright of Skyline, getting that sack.
Jack Gallatley, the punter for Issaquah, an all-around athlete.
Yeah, those penalties really hurt Issaquah. They had a nice drive going and just really shot themselves in the foot.
Gallatley trying to angle this one, and he gets it out of bounds around the 20-yard line. Not a great kick. It's outside at the 22-yard line, as Andrew Geese, the kick returner, had no shot at getting to that one. I'm sure Gallatley might have wanted to have another whack at that one because he got the angle on it, but he just didn't get the right angle on it.
Yeah, you don't want to kick it to guys, Andrew Geese and Nick Splendorio. They'll take it back to the house on you. So Gallatley was trying to, get that ball inside the 20, inside the 10, and angle it in coffin corner that, but, just off on his kick there.
So Skyline leading 7-0 will take over here with 11:11 to go in the first half. And Max Brown directing a little bit of traffic as he tries to get his running back in position there. And he'll hand it off, and met in the hole again is Cedric Cooper. So Cooper, he's a guy that's going to be in that cold tub this weekend, taking the shots he's getting. He and Gallatley could probably sit there and tell a few stories.
Yeah, they're definitely good backs, and, hey, when you're good backs, you're going to get the ball, you're going to take some shots. So, you definitely could be right about that, get in that ice tub.
Gain of 2, and Max Brown has gone to the air a little bit. Not too much success against the longtime rival Eagles of Issaquah. Another handoff. And this one will get out past the 30. Still going to be short of the first down by a couple of yards. Cooper again on the carry.
Good tackle by the backer there, Eric Roch, number 55, scraping downhill. But, that was still a nice gang there by Cooper, picking up, about 5 yards there.
7-0 Skyline looking to explode. Second quarter. Every quarter has been good for Skyline this year, but they average about 16 points in the second quarter this year on offense. Brown, the all-everything quarterback, getting flushed or hurried or knocked down. Take your pick. He's sacked. Not too often do you see that, but Brown goes down.
Yeah, good job coming off the edge by Peterson. Chaz Peterson there of Issaquah did a nice job of getting around that left tackle and getting to Max Brown.
So, 4th down, and the Eagles defense holding. They've done a great job thus far of limiting explosive plays by an explosive offense. And again, we talk about Issaquah coming in just 4-3 on the season, a disappointing 4-3. We've got a whistle nullifying the play here. Not sure if we had a timeout call before the snap. We do have a timeout call. Issaquah utilizing their first right here on 4th down and 5, and we'll see what we can do here in just a moment when we get back to live action. Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the PlayOn Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. Skyline going to be taking on the winner of Bothell-Woodinville for the KingCo Championship next week. And for Issaquah, they will play a crossover game next week, depending on the outcome of this one and depending on the outcome, as we understand, of that Bothell-Woodinville game. They'll get the loser of that one to try and keep hope alive in the playoff chase. 5 slots from KingCo will be allocated to the state playoffs this year. They've got to do some internal infighting in order to decide who gets those last few.
Yeah, that was kind of the prediction preseason. Bothell, Skyline clashing for the KingCo championship. Obviously, Woodinville stepped their game up. And like I said, Issaquah, they were up there too, but kind of had a disappointing, not disappointing, but subpar season thus far.
Here's a punt, high snap corralled by Sean McDonald. High wobbly punt that bounces outside the 35-yard line. Might have been touched by an Issaquah Eagle. The officials finally blowing this one dead as one of the Spartans jumping on top of it. But no, it did not bounce. But that's some dangerous living there for Issaquah, as one of the blockers didn't know the punt was a little bit shorter than he had thought.
Yeah, that was a very dangerous play. You could have gave the ball right back to Skyline in your own territory. But if you're number 17 for Issaquah, Nathan Neal, you got to get a Peter call to your guy there. Get him away from that ball because he was trying to block. Like I said, that ball looked pretty close to hit him there. So, you know, you got to help your guy out there and give him a Peter call there. Get away.
9:08 to go in the opening half. Issaquah trying to equalize on their rivals. Issaquah battling to get into the postseason. Almost a bobbled snap by Neary, able to recover, gets rid of it just in time, complete for about a 7-yard pickup as he finds the back in the flat. Nice job by Jack Neary as he completes it to Tyler Sheehan, 6 foot, 185-pound fullback.
Like I said, I like what I'm seeing from Issaquah on their first 2 drives despite the penalties on their first one. They're coming out with Jack Gallatley trying to establish that run, and then they're going to hit you with that play fake and some rollouts. So nice job mixing it up there on first down. Now you got yourself a great second down situation.
Second and short. 3, indeed, the call. They give it to Gallatley. Good for the first down into Spartan territory. Carrying green shirts with him, as we've seen him do so far throughout the game.
He's a very good back. Like I said, you know, it runs in their bloodline. His brother Grant was very good as well. Downhill, North Carolina. Not the biggest running backs, but they're going to be workhorse for you. You can give them the ball. You can rely on them. They usually don't turn the ball over. Very good ball players. Good run there by Jack.
Don Bartell, the defensive coordinator for the Spartans, trying to find an answer. Bartell, the last 4 years, is the head coach at Enumclaw before returning to Skyline this year. Here's Neary to the air. That one looking like a lateral. Might have been. Nope. The officials say incomplete pass. That one dangerously close to a lateral.
Yeah, and I think if you're Neary, you got to get that ball out there quicker. You know, that's a one-step drop. Take your step, throw it, get out of there. And you got to make some better blocks there, too, on the edge to help your receiver out. But you got to get that ball out quicker. If you're Neary, you got to leave your receiver out there to get blown up.
Issaquah trying to open it up a little bit here. It'll be second down and 10. Fortunately for them, incomplete for a couple of reasons because of ball positioning as well as ball possession.
Right, but like I said, I like what they're doing. They kind of have Skyline bringing their safeties up tight, so they're trying to open it up. So good start. Just got to execute.
Neary opening it up, but they give it to the lone setback, Gallatley. And this time the Spartans able to sniff this one out. No gain.
Yeah, you had a host of Spartans there corralling Gallatley, not letting him get anything on that carry.
Gallatley, a junior here in his 3rd year of varsity action. He's carried the rock for a while, and he'll have one more big year in purple and gold next year. But he wants to help get the Eagles into the postseason, and live up to some of the dreams they had at the beginning of the season when they were ranked in the state's top 10 at the 4A classification. KingCo always a tough lead. 3rd and 9 as the Skyline Spartan fans starting to make some noise here on senior night. Trips to the bottom of the screen, and we've got a whistle here, a stop of play.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of confusion between Neary and Peterson on where they want to get lined up, and good job by Coach Bennett calling a timeout, get his team settled down, and get the correct play call.
Well, that's what the timeouts are for. You've already used one to allocate. This is a tight ball game right now. It's a one-possession contest, and you've got the ball in the opposition's territory. You know, this is a team that has blitzed people all season long, getting out to big leads. This is a great time to take that timeout, I think.
Right. I think exactly right. You can't waste opportunities. And, you know, you're at midfield. You can't let this opportunity pass you up here like it did on that first drive. They were in scoring position, but had the penalty take them back. Like I said, if you're going to upset the number one team in the state, you don't want to beat yourself with mental errors and whatnot. You got to be sound.
Now Skyline, the number one team in the state, consensus across the board. Max Preps calling them the number one 4A team in the state, but the number 2 team in the state. And we saw the team that Max Preps thinks is the best team in the state, and a lot of people think this too, Bellevue Wolverines. And, of course, Spartans and the Wolverines used to do battle back when Skyline was at the 3A classification.
Yeah, good water cooler talk on who's number one in the state.
Because that matchup will not happen this year. 3rd and 9 after that timeout by the Eagles. Gallatley to the ground. He's going to be stuffed for no gain, maybe a loss of a foot. So the Spartan defense firming up.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, you know, the Skyline staff defensively said, hey, we start number 5. We got a great chance to win. So far, you know, Gallatley's had some nice runs, but they've kept them in check so far. But continue to watch Issaquah try to open up the playbook, you know, get Issaquah in some man coverage situations and maybe try to take some shots down the field a little bit later here.
Matt Sinatra with an opportunity here, makes the catch inside the 10, trying to set up the wall down the sideline. He's got it set up. 2 guys to beat, and he won't get past them, but a great return, 35 yards and more for Matt Sinatra. And the Spartans will start with great field position on their 3rd drive of the game.
Yeah, like I said, Skyline can beat you in different ways. They can, you know, special teams, you know, you got Geese, Sinatra, Splendor Rio, you know, they got guys that can, you know, take it back to the house to you, on you at any time in the game.
Of course, on a team like this, where it's a real team effort, but you've got your captain out there, your stellar all-world quarterback in Max Brown, who's been getting the headlines, sometimes defraying that attention from the others, but he'll go to work here. We'll see if he starts to air it out here as we got 6:30 to go in the first half. He really hasn't put it in the air much. Wide open set, no backs in the set, and he finds a man in the flat. Good for a short gain. It was complete.
Yeah, and pretty much Issaquah's keeping everything in front of him, not letting Skyline get behind him in their secondary, and that's what you got to do. You want to keep this game tight, keep it close. Like I said, don't give up any easy plays. Make Skyline execute.
Of course, who does he hit in the flat? Cedric Cooper, the running back. So just a long handoff that time for Brown, good for 4 yards. Under 6 to play in the first half, and Skyline looking for their second score of the game. Brown, a lot of time, finds a man complete, threads the needle, and a first down and more. Trevor Barney in tight coverage coming up with that reception, and Brown showing excellent touch.
Yeah, very good touch. The Barney there, he got past the defender, and a good job by Barney, too, kind of leading Max Brown where to throw the ball at, but even better accuracy by Brown, leading him right upfield on the sideline for a first down there. Nice touch on the pass.
He had time to throw. In traffic, he wasn't scattered at all, just stood his ground. Nice quick release. And a big first down, so that's really one of the first big plays that we've seen. Brown on an option will hand it off up the gut. Has that read option, keys off the end, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah. If that guy comes down, you know, in this case, that right defensive end, you know, Brown can keep it. You know, if he stays home, hey, hand it off to Cooper and let Cooper go to work.
Is that a variation on the veer?
Oh, yeah.
Or it might be the veer itself.
Yeah, well, obviously you've seen all the plays, the Wildcat, you got, the option read and whatnot. Yeah, all same kind of variation, just different reads or whatnot for various teams.
And they get relabeled from generation to generation. 2nd down and 8. Brown getting flushed. He's going to get sacked for the second time tonight. Big play by the Eagles. Chandler Wong in there from his linebacking position. Huge loss on the play.
And actually, that looked like that might have been number 34, Andrew Dykin there, coming off the edge, getting some nice pressure, wrapping up Brown. So good job by him.
It was Andrew Dykin, the 5'11 sophomore, out of the defensive end spot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and if you're coming after Max Brown, he's not the fastest guy. He can run, he's athletic, but if you get on top of him nice and quick, he has a long stride, you can get to him. That's what you saw there.
3rd and 19, and just as we saw the Eagles a few moments ago, some confusion on this big 3rd down play, and the Spartans will utilize a timeout here with 4:05 to go in the first half. And, gosh, what a big play by the Eagles. Already 2 sacks on the night of Max Brown.
Right, yeah. Now, like I said, they're not getting back there very quick, but what you're seeing is the Issaquah secondary keeping everything in front of them. And now, if my memory serves me correct here, when they've gotten these sacks, it's been when Skyline is trying to do double moves on the outside and get deep. Issaquah's not having that, so they're giving their front line a chance to get that pass rush. And if you've seen, they've got in the backfield twice and have got 2 sacks on Brown.
Coverage sacks.
Right, yeah. You can see Issaquah has 2 safeties back deep. They're not rolling up another guy to stop that run. They don't want to get beat by the big play, as we all would expect. You don't want to give Skyline any big points. They put up 58 a game, so make them earn it.
Brown, 24 touchdowns on the year versus just 3 interceptions, completing 74% of his passes. Unloads here, too tall for the intended receiver, looking for Barney in the middle.
Yeah, and good job again. Like I said, it's going to be very tough for Brown to get over top with those 2 safeties sitting in the back there, soaring around like hawks back there. And that's a nice drop, too, by number 45, I believe that was, for Issaquah. Get a nice drop there.
Well, we're going to get a look at a try from 53 yards, and why not, as we saw a record-setting field goal in the state last night over on the other side of the state. More on that coming up at half, but here is a 53-yard try. It is on its way, and it is wide left. But what a night to try that out. Sean McDonald, the senior kicker, putting a leg into that one. Eagles will get some decent field position after that one. But, hey, why not? We've seen some interesting things happen in the state so far this weekend.
McDonald definitely had enough leg there. It was just to the left there. He hit the bleachers back there. So if he has just a little bit more accuracy, gets that ball to the right down the pipe, that's 3 points. You got a 10-0 lead there. So he definitely has the leg. And like you said, good night here.
67-yarder hit last night to set the state record yesterday. And tremendous effort in a couple of Thursday night games. Also a passing record set last night as well in Eastern Washington. But here we've got a barn burner. 7-0. Issaquah in the upset bid. Trailing, but they have held their own, and they get another great carry from Jack Gallatley.
Yeah, Jack Gallatley running hard, but that was a nice hit too.
Yeah, that defense for the Spartans able to stymie these drives for the Eagles, who have managed to get into Spartan territory but not able to get it into the end zone.
Right, exactly right. Like I said, they hurt themselves with penalties on that first drive. But if you're going to have a blueprint to beat Skyline, one of the ways is trying to run the ball.
And they keep on that blueprint. 1st down and more, and Gallatley, both arms wrapped tightly on that one. That guy's grip on the football it's got to be in the bloodline.
Oh, yeah, he has a pit bull lock on it, so to say. He's not letting that ball go.
Yeah, 67-yard field goal from Central Valley's Austin Rakow in a 62-55 big win.
I think that was an overtime
by Central Valley. Yeah, it was a fantastic night in that game. A 62-55 score. And this basketball team's not scoring that night. 1st down and 10 for the Eagles as they look to equalize on the scoreboard. Under 3 to play in this fast-moving first half of action on the plateau.
Boy, and I'm just waiting. You know, we're down under 2 minutes 50 seconds. I'm just waiting for Issaquah, you know, to try on a first down, hand it off, and try to hit Skyline deep over the top on a post route or a go route, because they've been trying to pound that rock, and you play fake, you suck those backers up, maybe one of those safeties, and take your chance with Peterson down the middle.
Yeah, where is that play action thus far? But, yeah, 2:26 and counting down. Pickup of about 4 on the carry by Gallatley. So 2nd down and 6. There's a little bit of play action. Gallatley held up at the line. Here's Neary to the air. Too strong and too long for the intended receiver. He was looking for Craig Grewe out there on the right sideline.
Well, like I said, I like what Bennett's doing. I like his game plan offensively. You can see it coming. He tried to set him up with a stop and go there. Neary just overthrew the receiver there. I think that was
it was Grewe.
Down
that right sideline. One of the seniors for the Issaquah Eagles. His favorite athlete, Deshaun Jackson. His favorite class, math. That'll get you a great job after college if you study math, my friend.
Oh, yeah, it was not my favorite one.
Those STEM skills, science, technology, engineering, and math, in demand everywhere, especially here in the state of Washington. 3rd down and 6. They spread them out. Here's a fire of a shot, and then a big hit by the Spartans as Neary can't complete on that one and slow to get up for the Eagles.
Yeah, Trevor
is
Barney.
Kui Osterhout.
He put a hit on him there.
That was one of those that you kind of shudder about when you see that receiver coming across the middle.
Right.
And interestingly enough, he did have the appearance of pulling up. That's just the collision of not even head on, full steam.
But you know, at the college level, NFL level, especially NFL, they've been cracking down on that. That would have been a penalty probably.
So, as Neary tries to air it out a couple of times, the drive comes to a halt as they've yet to really find their rhythm in the passing game, but that's not their bread and butter. 2:07 to go, and they're going to give the Spartans the ball back, and we'll see if Max Brown's able to air it out and get the Spartans another score here before the halftime intermission. Short punt by Gallatley, and scooping it up, and in traffic dangerously is Matt Sinatro. I think all that trouble was worth maybe a yard or two.
Yeah, that was nice coverage by Eric Roch there, the linebacker, senior, 6'2", 220, flying down the field on special teams.
So the Spartans will take over at their own 26-yard line with 1:58 to go in the half. And if there's somebody you'd like to say, hey, take us down the field and score, it would be the USC Trojans quarterback-to-be, Max Brown.
Yeah, there's no better guy to do it. So plenty of time here.
Last year,
offense,
Last year, the Gatorade State Player of the Year, completing 70% of his passes. He's completing 74% this year. It's hard to say all those numbers last year, the accolades. He's even doing a better job statistically this season. And he's leading Skyline to an undefeated record. Now he's got to try to get out of trouble, and this will be the 3rd sack of the night for the Eagles on the vaunted Spartan offensive attack.
Boy, great. I guess I can't give Issaquah's secondary enough credit here in this first half. Nice job. Like I said, they try to run crossing routes there. Skyline did to mix them up, but great coverage.
1:34 to go. After the loss, it's 2nd down and 14. Brown getting the happy feet, needing to get rid of it, throws it away. Threw it short to Nick Splendorio, but he was just trying to get rid of it.
Now, here's interesting. They've went for 2 shots here. You got a 3rd down. You stop them. You get a punt. You could have a chance to maybe get 3 points here, possibly score. There's plenty of time you can get a stop here if you're Issaquah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Issaquah with just 1 timeout remaining. Skyline, I believe, with 2.
Right, so this is big 3rd down here, and it's a 3rd and long, too.
Yep, it's one of those the high-powered offenses. When you get those incompletions, it just really kills the clock.
Right, and I really think that Skyline's confident, knows their offense can score, so that's why they're trying to take a chance here and get this early 14-point lead.
Empty backfield, 5 receivers in the set. Brown finding a man underneath, couldn't hang on. And the Eagles, great hitting as well on defense. Eric Rao one more time, applying a little bit of contact there after the drop.
Yeah, and even if that ball was caught, I mean, that's great zone coverage. The guy, see that quarterback throw the ball there, break on it, wrap the guy up for no gain. Great job by Issaquah so far.
Took away the outside stuff and left him with the check down, and
Right.
That's what you wanted to do on defense, and now you force the punt. So here is Sean McDonald on to punt, and Issaquah going to get good field position with right now 1:20 to go. This one, a booming kick. Derek Chapman's going to let it bounce, and it takes an Issaquah Eagle roll. They'll still have it outside the 35-yard line, so a little bit shorter field, but a great kick by Sean McDonald, getting some great hang time as well.
Yeah, that was a great punt. The bounce kind of went against him there, but Issaquah's had decent field position here in this first half, just hasn't really been able to capitalize on it. But one thing you don't want to do, don't try to do too much if you're near it. Don't turn the ball over and give it right back to Skyline in your own territory. Make sound decisions, smart decisions.
Are we likely to see some runs here? Maybe Skyline and a little prevent, but
maybe a screen.
They run right out of the eye here. 3 receivers in the set, and they hand it off. They take the safe play to Galatly. And he'll pick up a few, but as the clock goes under a minute to go, I think Issaquah, knowing that they're going to get the ball to start the second half, may be content to head to the locker room down 7-0. That's not the score that a lot of pundits would have picked in this particular ball game. Now under 40 seconds to go. Neary with 2 receivers to the top, going to air it out if he can get rid of it, but he can't. Spartans in there for the sack.
And actually
Peter Stromgren, linebacker, coming in for that one.
I'm sorry there, Alex, but it looks like Skyline is going to – actually, they're going to take a time. Looked like they were going to maybe just kind of let the clock run out and be content with this 7-0 lead, but they're going to take a timeout here too, put some pressure on Issaquah.
They take their second one here, so they'll have one remaining. 23 seconds to go in this half, and as we talked about, a little bit stunned. This is the top-ranked team in the state, but a rivalry matchup, anything can happen, especially on senior night, especially in October in the state of Washington.
Right. You know, a little bit surprised, you know, because this is Skyline, but they've had a tendency in some of their games that they have been tied in. Like I said, I'll say it again, the Newport and Bothell game. So they had a tendency to start slow, and those are the games that tend to be closer for them. Like I said, they usually can pick it up second quarter, second half, and get things rolling. But, hey, if you're Issaquah, you got to be happy when you're being down by 1 possession here.
Absolutely. Skyline, they got down by a couple touchdowns last week against Newport and then came roaring back as Max Brown threw 4 touchdown passes. And then it was also the defense for Skyline keying the comeback as well, as they had 2 fumble returns for touchdowns last week on defense. But right now, they've kept the shutout intact, but Galatly and company, who gets the handoff here and is cut down with 18 seconds remaining, and I believe the Spartans will take their final timeout. They've gotten some running room, but they just have not been able to get in the red zone or get any kind of scoring going. So the Spartan defense not getting the big plays, but making all the right plays.
Yeah, like I said, they've picked up some runs here and there, some nice yardage, but they've been off in the passing game. They didn't complete their screen pass or a wide receiver screen. Neary was a little bit late in his throw. They had a chance in the play fake to go deep to Greery on the right sideline earlier, overthrew him. So they're just not connecting on the opportunities that the running game has set up for them so far.
So 18 seconds remaining in the half, and the punt coming from the Eagles. Will they set up a look for a return, or are they going to go for the all-out block?
Well, I think with all the utility guys you have, you put Nick Splendorio back there, you let him go to work. He was electrifying last year with punt returns. Even this year, he's been pretty good. So I think you put him back there, one of your other guys, Geese, and see what they can do here.
Well, he had that wall set up the last time, got a nice 35-yard return. The Eagles able to get 2 guys to finally bring him down before he got to midfield, but he'll park it at about the 31-yard line as Galatly will take the snap here. That one a little high snap, but Galatly corrals it. Gets a bit of a leg into this one. Splendorio, or rather, the receiver brought down here, and a penalty flag as we have 8.2 seconds left to go. Matt Sinatro again back there receiving that one.
That would have been another face mask. Had a nice bulldog of a tackle there on Sinatro there, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be a face mask probably.
Well, we'll see. There's just 8.2 seconds left to go, so maybe a play, maybe two, depending on what they opt to run. But give some credit to the Issaquah Eagle defense so far in this one. They've already picked up 3 sacks of Max Brown and the Skyline Spartans and have limited them to just one long drive for a touchdown, that on the opening drive of the game.
Right, yeah, they've made some good decisions, and I think even better yet, some great play calling by the Issaquah staff over there and what they're doing defensively. Like I said, their pass rush hasn't been dominating, but because of their coverage in the secondary, that's allowed their front guys to get around the edge, get up the middle, and put some pressure on Brown and get some sacks.
Chris Bennett, the head coach of the Issaquah Eagles, fired up over on that sideline, talking with the officials a little bit about that 5-yard face mask penalty. So with 8.2 seconds left to go, 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Max Brown going to work. They move the pocket on him. He's getting chased from behind. Better get rid of it. He doesn't. Big sack by the Eagles. One more time, Andrew Dykin, the sophomore defensive end, and that will finish off a fantastic half of KingCo football. My goodness, the Issaquah Eagle defense leveling Max Brown on the final play of the half. Welcome back, or rather, stick with us. It's the end of the first half. We'll be back in a few moments with the PlayOnSports.com halftime show. Don't go anywhere. It's Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. Our halftime score, the Skyline Spartans 7 and the Issaquah Eagles 0. We're back in just a few moments. Welcome to the PlayOnSports.com halftime show, coming to you from Spartan Stadium in Sammamish, Washington. I'm Alex Webster alongside Taj Bomar, former Washington State champion with the Kentwood Conquerors. Our halftime score, the undefeated and top-ranked Skyline Spartans leading in senior night. Their Issaquah School District foes, the Issaquah Eagles, by a count of 7-0. And this, as we mentioned, a little bit of a surprise. Folks expected Skyline to come in here and roll, but sometimes you get into these games. They've locked up the championship battle for KingCo. They know they're going to play a game next week for the title. They're top rank in the league. It's senior night with a lot of distractions, and they've had a penchant for starting slow. Could all of that be rolled up into one big ball that's kind of led to this little slower than expected start?
Right, I think you're exactly right. And that's one thing you kind of got to watch out for. You got to take every opponent, with the same type of intensity, passion, no matter what. Just because Issaquah's kind of down this year, like I said, they got Jack Gallatley. They haven't done too much on offense, but you don't want to let a team like this that's down, you can kind of put them out of this game. You don't let them hang around in that fourth quarter. You might catch yourself in a nail-biter. Game comes down to a field goal kick or a one-possession drive, one play. And anything can happen from there, Alex.
Well, Jack Gallatley, we talked about him in the pregame. He's lived up to the billing. Unfortunately, his team just hasn't been able to get into scoring position, but they've been able to move the chains and get the job done. But each time the Spartan defense kind of slows them down. They need to get some passing going to try and kind of open up the running lanes a little bit more for Gallatley, or at least to get the ball downfield. Yeah,
that's that next phase of their offense in the second half that they're going to have to develop. It's kind of like the Seahawks. Run the ball great, but you're passing, you're dropping the ball. You can't complete your passes. But that's the next phase in this game, and he's been off so far, Neary, for Issaquah. So if they can kind of put that next phase to the second half, they're working with something here.
Well, we've seen a lot of things already in this game. We've seen some chain crew moving inadvertently. We've seen some sacks of Max Brown.
Right.
And we've seen a long field goal try of about 50-some-odd yards that was unfortunately off the mark. But one thing we did see in the state last week, we talked about it earlier, but an opportunity to give credit. We're probably the last in the long chain because this was the top play on ESPN last night. But Central Valley's Austin Rako kicking the state record 67-yard field goal. And sometimes these come in games that don't live up. It was a 62-55 game. He kicks the field goal in this big win for Central Valley, and he did it as time expired. It breaks a record set for more than 80 years ago by Kent's Kelly Emhoff in 1929. The previous record, 62-yard field goal. This is like Bob Beamon in the 68 Olympics was shattering the long jump record. He beats this record by 5 yards last night.
I mean, was that a basketball game or a football game with that score? But I, like I said, great kick, 67-yarder. And I think he has one, I'm pretty sure, has an offer from Eastern Washington. I guarantee he's going to have a lot more letters coming his way after that performance. But I'm not sure if you know, Alex, but I thought I read and was researching the nationwide longest field goal for high school is a 68-yarder.
Wow.
So, I mean, he was right in the cups of that. So, great leg.
Yeah, two other kickers kicking 67-yard field goals from Georgia in 99 and Texas in 87.
Right.
But that's only half the story because another record was broken. Shadle Park quarterback Brett Rippon, who's the nephew of Wazoo great Mark Rippon.
Sure, you know that name well.
Setting the state's single-game passing record, throwing for 577 yards in that loss. The previous record held by Monroe's Joey Ropo, who threw for 515 in 2010, again shattering that record as well.
I mean, those are video game Xbox NCAA numbers, almost 580 yards, 600 yards. I mean, outrageous records broken. But that's what's great about high school football. You see these kind of things like that, kids putting up all kind of crazy numbers. And you even see at the college level sometimes, Geno Smith, West Virginia, putting up huge passing numbers. So, that's just the evolution of the game. Offense, scoring and whatnot, and these spread offenses tossing the ball all around the gridiron.
Any given Sunday, they say in the NFL. It could be any given Friday in high school football, or in our case, any given Thursday with those two record-setting performances last night. That's going to do it for the PlayOnSports.com halftime show. Friday Night Football will return in just a few minutes with the start of the second half right here on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Skyline leading Issaquah 7-0. We're back in a few minutes. You're watching PlayOnSports.com's presentation of Friday Night Football live from Sammamish, Washington. I'm Alex Webster with Taj Bomar, where the top-ranked Spartans of Skyline lead the Issaquah Eagles 7-0 as we get ready to start the second half of action. And it will be the Issaquah Eagles who will receive the kick and an opportunity to try and get this one tied up and put Skyline in a position they've not been in all too often, and that's either being tied or possibly behind at some point in the second half.
Yeah, because like we said earlier in the first half there, Alex, usually Skyline can kind of rebound from their slow starts and put up some nice points in the second quarters. But so far, Issaquah, they've stuffed them. You know, they've kept this game close, giving themselves a chance here in the second half. But if you're Issaquah, I just kind of worry, you know, how much pressure are you going to keep putting on your defense to keep you in this ball game? You got to help them out and get some points on the board.
Well, for right now, it is both teams keeping an eye on another game taking place in KingCo. It's the Bothell-Woodinville game at Pop Keeney at the half. Bothell leading the Woodinville Falcons 13-7. The meaning of that is potential opponents for next week. If Bothell wins that game, Skyline goes on the road to Pop Keeney to play for the KingCo title next week. If Woodinville wins that game, the Falcons come here.
Right, yeah. I mean, no doubt you always want to play home, but even more of an advantage for Skyline playing possibly Bothell here is you don't want to go to Pop Keeney. Bothell's been playing very well of late. They've kind of caught their stride, whereas those first 3 games of their schedule, they played some very tough opponents in Bellevue, and obviously they played Skyline here. So they're kind of catching strides of, hey, if you can get those guys to come here or you get any opponent to come here to your home here, that gives you a hands up just by itself in general. And
for the Blue Cougars of Bothell, it would be a sweet bit of closure as they opened the season in a loss to the Skline Spartans, and that one 33-21. But as you said, Danny Wilson, their young running back, has started to come alive. Their young quarterback also starting to put the ball away. And right now in a hard-fought battle at Pop Keeney, that one leaning the Cougars' way, but a lot of football yet to be played there, and a lot of football yet to be played here as the Spartans will tee it up as Sean McDonald. You know this guy's used to kicking off a lot with the points that the Spartans put up during the season.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be kicking it back there to a couple of good return guys for the Issaquah Eagles, and the second half underway, but they are not going to get a shot at this one as it is drilled nearly through the uprights for the touchback. And the Issaquah Eagles, who had some good hard running from Jack Gallatley, but not a lot else going for them, will try to see if they can go 80 yards to pay dirt.
Yeah, and one thing that Coach Bennett mentioned in Issaquah's win last week was they played one of their best halves, speaking of the first half versus Ballard, of mistake-free football. And if they're going to come out with a win, they're going to have to duplicate that this week in the second half versus Skyline.
Well, they got a nice win, 49-28 last week over the Ballard Beavers. And they'll come right out, a little play-action pass. And Neary finding a completion, good for a few yards, as he found the receiver. Tyler Sheehan, the fullback, in the flat. So they come out with that play action you talked a little bit about in the first half, when they might start to work with that. They do that on the first play from scrimmage here in the second half. Yes. Picks up about as much as a Gallatley run as well, about 4 yards, and gives them 2nd and 6.
That's a good way to start. Get Neary in a nice rhythm here.
Out of the eye, double tight ends. They give it to Gallatley, and he's smothered in there by the green shirts of the Spartan defense. So 3rd and, we'll say shortish. It'll be about 4 yards. They gave him credit for a couple of yards on that carry, obviously moving the pile a little bit.
Yeah, good job by the backer. Getting low, good pat level, taking down Gallatley, number 41, Peter Stromgren there. Good job plugging the gap there.
Stromgren with a couple of nice plays on defense in the first half. Now a critical 3rd down play here for the Eagles. They want to establish some momentum here in this second half. Neary on the rollout has this one nearly picked by the Spartans. Wow, long throw and a long way to go for that one as one of the linebackers stepped in front, nearly getting his hands on that one, and it might have gone the other way.
I say, boy, that was almost a mistake that would have really hurt you there if you're Issaquah. Got to make good decisions.
Josh Wright, I believe, getting his mitts on that one.
Yeah, and those rollouts are tough because he had some guys that pretty much they ran a bunch set. They ran level routes. One guy to the short flat middle, and then you got to the deep route there. But tough to throw those balls when you're rolling out to your left when you're a right-handed quarterback.
Gallatley's punt fielded at the 42-yard line, and Sinatra running the wrong way to start out and finally pulled out of bounds. A lot of running for maybe a gain of a half a foot.
Yeah, not a lot there. Good coverage by Issaquah, number 3. Craig
Greewee.
Greewee.
Yep. You're right. Good coverage by Greewee to get down there on the shorter kick. Still excellent field position for the Spartans, and this might be the time when they want to crank it up and try to put it away. Skyline, as you might imagine, they have diminishing returns in their scoring. They get off to a great start in ball games, averaging 22.5 in the first quarter. In the third quarter, just 12.8 points per game. But they haven't been tested this often. Little Statue of Liberty action here as they give it to Cooper. Cedric Cooper getting about 3 yards on kind of a little misdirection there.
Yeah, and a big reason he might say, well, why they put up so many points in that first half but not the second? Well, look at their scores, folks. They've been blowing people out. I mean, they beat Coeur d'Alene. I think they dropped about 70 on those guys. So, they get a lot of guys that get in and get to play. And that's part of the reason that they're so good. They dominate the state at the 4A level. They get a lot of guys with experience to get in there and get their feet wet.
Well, and they get out there and they play some challenging games. They play a tough opener against a Bothell team that people think highly of, still do. They go on the road, play Cottonwood in Utah, Coeur d'Alene at the Kibbe Dome over in Idaho. Here's Brown firing one complete for the first down. And then you see the USC recruits' abilities as he stands firm under pressure and fires that one for a 10-yard, 11-yard strike.
Yeah, what the impressive part about that, more than the throw, was he stood in the pocket there. He took a hit and still delivered.
Max Brown, 6'5", 215-pound ESPN Elite 11, ranked as the top pocket quarterback in the nation by Max Preps. Contender for National Player of the Year, but not with the performance so far tonight. They'll settle for the victory as they play a big game for the conference championship next week. Good run by Cooper again for the first down, and the Spartans moving the chains as they did in the first drive of the game.
Yeah, Cooper, he'll put a move on you. He'll make you miss for sure. He has pretty good lateral movement there.
Cooper, 5'9", 165-pound senior. Brown with trips to the right, looking that way, finds the slot man through behind him just a little bit. He was looking for Trevor Barney.
Yeah, Max Brown wish he could have had that one back. You see him get excited after that incomplete. He knew he should have completed that one. Nice big hole right in the middle there. Just missed Barney.
Brown's favorite pregame meal, potatoes and eggs. Likes to listen to music. His favorite class is psychology. The multi-year starter here at the helm of the Spartan offense. Little bubble screen off the right side, set up nicely. Running room for the Spartans out near the first down, and they do indeed have the first down after a nice catch and run as Max Brown hooking up with fellow senior Nick Splendorio.
Yeah, you gotta have guys running to the ball. Even if they complete that screenplay, you gotta have guys taking proper angles, great pursuit angles to get to the ball carrier, receiver in this case.
You can see, as is all the rage these days, the entire offensive unit looking over to the sideline for the call, the no-huddle offense.
Mm-hmm.
Brown checking again. Now a little read option, and he gives it to the running back, Cooper. Breaks a couple of tackles for 5 yards.
Yeah, they're nice little battle between Jack Gallatley of Issaquah and Cedric Cooper of Skyline on who's going to have the top rushing yards. They're both having some nice runs in this ball game. Cooper has just a little bit. Yeah, he has a little bit more, juice to his step there. A little bit more wiggle.
8 minutes to go here in the third quarter. The Spartans trying to go up by a couple of scores. Brown in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Just a little bit off the mark tonight.
Yeah, like I said, they've had some pressure on him sometimes, made him move around. But like I said, a couple plays earlier, he missed Trevor Barney right in the middle of the field. And right there, like I said, just a little bit off, not hitting in full stride.
So it'll bring up third down and a short 5 from just the edge of the red zone. Another read option play. Cooper, running room, touchdown, Skyline.
Yeah, they kept running that zone read, dive right up the middle, time after time, and maybe they kind of wore down the Issaquah front there and gashed them right up the middle.
19-yarder here with 7:52 to go in the third period, and Skyline looking to exert their will as now they've got themselves a multi-score lead, and it'll really put the pressure on the Issaquah offense to get some things going. But first, the try for point. Sean McDonald, excellent kicker, drills this one up and through. So the Spartans, pretty much like they did on the opening drive of the game, moving the chains and then finally pushing it into the end zone. This time they did it in a few fewer plays.
Right, yeah, and like I said, we were talking just before the second half started, a little bit nervous on, how much pressure can you put on the Issaquah defense to hold back an offense that puts up so many points and can score really fast. And now you're down 2 possessions. You got to respond back here. You can't go have a nice drive of about eight plays and then punt the ball away. You got to make something happen.
Well, we talked a little bit in the early part of this game about the weather that we've had and how good it's been. 61% chance of precipitation has turned into 100% now as the rain starts to open up here on senior night. But the Spartan faithful enjoying the evening nonetheless with a 14-point advantage. As we have a good chunk of this second half to go. And again, the pressure on the Issaquah Eagles to try and respond to get this back to a single-score game and then perhaps do a little bit more. But when you start to do a little bit more than you can, that's when the mistakes happen. And the Spartans capitalizing for a couple of scores on defense last week. This one deep into the end zone. And, of course, in high school football in the state of Washington, once it's in the end zone, it can't come out. So having a strong-legged kicker is a real advantage.
Oh, yeah, and as like you said, as we've seen in that 67-yard field goal, it's a big advantage when you can have a kicker that can
we talk
the ball through
talk about the specialization in sports these days with the kinds of things that you can earn as a kicker, a punter, a return guy, third down specialist, whatever it might be. A libero on a volleyball team is another example of that, the relief pitchers, or you can really make a great opportunity at a collegiate scholarship or a career. Neary airing it out. Had a man who had a step, but just a little too long. Yeah. Interesting play call. We said that they might try to open it up to get back into this one. Reed Peterson had a step, but Neary a little too long.
Yeah, and that's the same that happened in the first half. Issaquah receiver has a step on a Skyline defender. And Skyline's been vulnerable over especially in the first game of the year versus Bothell. They did some nice things in making them convert to man coverage and getting past them. But so far tonight, they've had a couple chances, just not able to connect.
Well, they open it up a little bit here with 3 receivers in this set. Offset eye in the backfield, fumbled snap, and Eagles will be lucky to recover, and I do believe they did. But going backwards now to bring up third and long.
Yeah, and if you're Chris Bennett, head coach for Issaquah, what do you do here? They got a third and long here. Looks like about 3rd and 12. I think one thing you could do here is they haven't shown this tonight. Run a screen to Gallatley, see if you can get him underneath. Let that Skyline rush come in and throw right underneath him there or over top of him.
Well, they got Gallatley back there with Neary in the shotgun. Gallatley off to his left. 2 receivers to either side. They look to the slot underneath. Great catch. And Chaz Peterson pulling that one out of the night sky, but it's not going to be enough for the first down.
Yeah, just got him with a nice slant route there, but, you can't expect a slant route to get you, 12 yards unless you really got some faith in your guy to break up a tackle, make a guy miss. You got to get past the markers there, but I think they were just trying to get the ball out of Neary's hand quick and fast and see what can happen after that.
Sinatro back on his 40-yard line. to try and receive this punt from Gallatley, and this one will force Sinatro back, and this one is going to take a nice Eagle roll and out of bounds just about the 20-yard line, just inside. They'll mark it right even with the 20-yard line. So a nice kick and roll from Jack Gallatley, and the Spartans will have a longer field to go here, but already working with a 14-0 advantage. We'll see if we see more Cedric Cooper with some play action from Max Brown. And the rain's starting to come down a bit more here this evening as the Issaquah faithful on the other side looking for their tarps and ponchos.
And we'll see if the rainfall coming there has any kind of effect on the ball carriers here. Your Skyline 14-0 lead, plenty of time left, but we'll see if they kind of air the ball out here.
Spartans, top-ranked team in the state, defending 4A state champions. With the advantage, here's Cooper on the run, dragged down for the moment, stays alive, reverses his field, and a penalty flag thrown on this one. We'll see who that one is against, but he'll gain about 5 yards after running nearly a quarter mile on the play.
Yeah, good job there by the Will linebacker, 42, Tyler Sheehan. That was a shoestring saving tackle. Cooper could have took that to the house on the right corner there.
I'll let the officiating crew sort this one out. It is a hold against the Spartans. So all that activity for naught.
Yeah, and that tends to happen sometimes, especially when a guy that, reverses field, makes a lot of moves and jukes. You get the defenders going one way, you guys are trying to block the other way, and they end up grabbing some jersey. That tends to happen on plays like that.
So the Spartans will have it first down and about 20. And this plays into the hands of Max Brown, who will look deep. Has some time to throw. Finds the receiver for a good pickup, but he couldn't hang on. Or did he? The linesman spotting it for the completion. So give him 15 yards on the completion. They said the ball popped out when he got up.
Yeah, that was a nice job there by the Skyline offensive line, giving Brown a nice, huge, big passing lane to complete that 15-yarder there.
Makes it a more manageable 2nd down and 5 here. Brown out of the shotgun again. Looking to air it out. On the right sideline, Splendorio reaches up, and he cannot find the handle. Good coverage there by the Eagles.
Yeah, good job. Looks like that was
Derek Chapman, I believe.
Yeah, number 9.
The corner on that side, staying with Splendorio, who comes up hobbled a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, we've been mentioning this all game. Issaquah hasn't given them any big, deep passes down the field. They've made them dink and dunk underneath and hand that ball off to Cooper. So good job again by the Issaquah secondary.
Chapman and Greewee, the corners, along with Gallatley and Kenny Norton III at the safeties. That's a pretty formidable backfield. Little reverse handoff on the inside. Good for the first down and more as Cooper out of bounds just past the 35-yard line.
Boy, I tell you what, if you can rewind, that was a great block by the offensive guard, 54, Reggie Long. He absolutely plastered. I think that was the defensive end. I kind of lost the number, but he had a great block to open up that running lane for Cooper there. Great block by Long.
It's a great setup that they have to run that running play out of the shotgun, and it's been very effective for them.
Yeah, and Cooper does a nice job of setting up those blocks to allow himself to bounce it outside. And, hey, if you see his running style, his favorite player, Barry Sanders.
Spartan Stadium, the rain continues to fall with 5:13 left to go in the third. Brown weaving in and out of traffic, his 4th sack of the night, as he will be stopped for about a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, good job there. I think you said, about 4 sacks in the night. I mean, you got to give Issaquah credit. They're down 14, but their defense has done a great job of trying to keep them in this ball game. Their offense is just sputtered. Haven't been able to do anything.
Well, the lowest offensive output for Skyline this year came in their opening game, and they were limited to 33 points. This has been a whole different kind of ball game, but still 4:35 to go in the third. A lot of time for them to put up points as they are an explosive offense, as Brown will try to show you here, but he's got to get out of trouble first. Flings this one incomplete as Trevor Barney could not hang on to it. And it'll bring up 3rd and a dozen.
Yeah, there's been multiple times in tonight's game where Max Brown has had to hold on to the ball longer than you would like him to. And, again, it's allowed that D-line to get upfield and get some pressure. So, hey, give Issaquah defensive line coach Jared Warren a lot of credit. He's got these guys going up front.
Well, they take their time getting the play called, and in from the sideline. Of course, with a no-huddle offense, you buy yourself a little bit of time. Twins to either side. I believe that's Cooper in the backfield along with the venerable Max Brown. Again, a lot of time. Throws this one nearly a big collision as Matt Sinatro, the intended receiver, but the defender for the Eagles laying up after that one a little too high from Brown again.
Boy, I tell you, that play, it was an incomplete pass, but it gave me shivers. Gallatley almost had a huge hit there if he could have connected on that hit. He was in prime position.
Well, for the Eagles, a nice stop right here. They get the sack. They force them to some incompletions. And now they get a shot at getting the ball back. A lot of time left, 4:19 and counting down in the third. Punt on its way. And back there is Derek Chapman. He fair catches it at the 21-yard line. And that's where the Eagles will set up shop as they look to get things going. We'll see if they get a steady diet of Gallatley again or whether they're going to try to work some passes off of the play action. But they haven't really established the run so far in the first half, or rather in the second half, as they did in the first half.
Right, yeah. Like I said, they just kind of sputtered, can't connect on their passes. There he's just off on his touch. But Chris Bennett, 2009 Coach of the Year in the KingCo Crest division, is going to earn his money tonight trying to pull out some offense of some sort on this drive here.
Out of the eye this time. The give to Gallatley. He's got a hole. He's got a first down, and he's got a little more as I think a penalty flag thrown here on the tackle. I think Gallatley's shoulder pads nearly came off as they got a hold there, and then we've got an injured Eagle on the far side of the field. The officials will discuss this one. Referee Gavin Anderson and his crew.
Yeah, not quite sure on the number who's down there.
And he is up. And
actually,
not sure.
Gallatley looks like
it might be Gallatley, and I think it is. And what a huge blow that would be for the Eagles offense. It'll be a first down, and it's a personal foul against the Spartans. So tack on 15 to what was a gain of about 15 as well. And so a good 30-yard turnaround here for Issaquah. That little spark perhaps that they're needing, but right now a lot of concern over the injured Jack Gallatley.
Yeah, looked like he kind of got taken. I think you kind of mentioned it, Alex. He got taken down kind of awkwardly there. Jersey was kind of ripped and pulled to the side. So not sure what quite happened, but hopefully he's okay, can get back in this ball game. Great player in Jack Gallatley.
Well, sometimes you have that new player fresh into the game and want to give him a carry just to get him into the flow. But right now, trips to the bottom of the screen, single setback. They look back on a lateral. This might be a double pass. This one is covered well, and the Spartans in there for the interception. Well read as Trevor Barney, the defensive back, pulls down our first turnover of the night.
Hey, I mean, give Coach Chris Bennett credit. He tried to take a shot there. They've had issues with throwing the ball with Neri tonight, down deep, not accurate, and this time they tried a little trickery on a little screen flare play and tried to get a little double pass there. Ball underthrown. Nice job by, I think you said that was
Barney.
Trevor Barney there. Nice job going up at the highest point of attack and bringing that ball down.
Not what the Eagles wanted, but right now it works almost like a punt, if you will, as it's down inside the red zone. And a brief timeout there as they got the chains fixed over on the far side of the field to get that done. And the Spartans will take over deep in their own territory, and we think we may have had a lightning flash out here on the plateau. Cooper with the run. And a good pickup on the carry. Kyle Thomas was the running back that came in for Jack Gallatley that launched that pass. And, an interesting time to go for that play. You got Gallatley out. You bring in a guy. Maybe that's the time to run trickeration, but Barney read that one well and stayed right with the receiver.
Yeah, that was a great job by Barney, staying home, reading his keys. You got a guy going past you. Hey, man coverage, stay on him.
3:22 to go in the third, and the umbrella is out in force now as the rain continues to fall here at Spartan Stadium. Here's a pass completion. This is Barney. He's got the first down and more. Out near the 30-yard line now.
Yeah, and, that's one thing Skyline does. They see you playing off in coverage. They'll hit you with those screen plays, and Issaquah hasn't adjusted to come up and jump those, which I think they might be okay with giving those up rather than giving up that big play, as we've mentioned throughout this ballgame.
3:06 and counting down in the third period. 14-0, Skyline, undefeated and top-ranked in the state, will play for the KingCo title next week against either Bothell or Woodinville, but have to deal with their rival, the Issaquah Eagles here. Nice pass play for the first down. Just a little check down over there to the right side and plenty of running room to get the first down.
Yeah, you kind of got a feeling Skyline's kind of picking up momentum here, ready to go in for the nail in the coffin. Put the 21 points up on the board if they can keep this drive going. Max Brown's getting into a nice little flow here.
See if they take a shot downfield. They've got trips to the near side. Nope, they'll go with the handoff, and Cooper gets some tough running in there. A lot of collisions and picks up 5.
Yeah, and I think if you're Issaquah and you're the defensive coordinator, Fred Abila, if I'm pronouncing that right, hope I am, but you got to tell your guys, we got to get turnovers. You got to be stripping that ball. When you get to Max Brown, you got to try to be ripping that ball out of his hands. You got to get the ball back to your offense, or better yet, score on defense.
Brown out to Barney in the flat again, eludes a couple of tacklers, runs into his own guy. And we've got penalty flags down in 2 spots on the field. First down picked up on the play, but a lot of sorting out of hankies to do here. Chaz Peterson on the stop.
Yeah, you got a hanky at the end of the play here, and you have one in the backfield here, so could be.
Well, it looked like Barney had run into his own guy,
right.
And then the flag came in, but I'm not sure if there was something else there. There's a holding call against the Spartans, so it's all for naught anyway. Second down coming up.
Yeah, and again, that screenplay, they've had success, went back to it, but not quite sure who had the holding. Probably out there on the edge by one of the receivers out there for Skyline.
2:03 to go in the third. Brown and company back for second down and 15. Trips again to the near side. Looks like there's one uncovered receiver there, but they finally, out of zone, get it. But Brown will take to his feet here, falls forward after gaining about 10. Maybe 9 on the play. Nonetheless, good pickup on second down, and the rain really starting to come down now.
Right, yeah. We're right underneath the 10 here. You can really hear it coming down here, too.
The beauty of high school football in the state of Washington. As we get into the latter stages of October, it's the colors of fall and the texture of wetness out here. Playoffs just in the offing, a couple of weeks away in the battle for state championships, as the Skyline Spartans know all too well. 1 minute left to go as Brown launches one incomplete to the far sideline, and that was a big 3rd and 5 play, so it appears the Eagles defense may have held the key play, that penalty on the holding.
Right, yeah, now you got the punt unit coming in for Skyline. Got to give them a lot of kudos for Issaquah keeping their team in the game here. Still got a whole quarter left. Just under a minute here in the third quarter. Anything can happen. Keep fighting if you're Issaquah.
Sean McDonald on to punt. He's probably punted more in this game than he has all season. Gets a good leg into this one as Derek Chapman fields it on the fair catch at the 19-yard line. And that's where the Eagles We'll set up shop here in just a moment. PlayOn Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at PlayOn Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. You know, football not the only sport here at Skyline that has fared very well at state. The girls' side, their swim and dive teams winning state championships the last 3 years. Their girls' soccer team also winning a championship last year. Good defensive effort here from the Spartan defensive line as they stymie the Eagle attack here with now 37 seconds to go in the third period. A loss of about a yard.
Yeah, Issaquah tried to run a little fullback counter there, and it did not fool Sean McElhaney there. Good job of reading that, staying home, and getting the ball carrier down.
Tyler Sheehan, the fullback on that carry. This may be the last play of the third period, depending on if they get a completion or not. Well, looks like they're going to go empty. And we'll see. This one just gotten rid of in time by Neary as he was drilled. 9.1 seconds left to go. And for the Spartans, I want to say Austin Bowie in on the play.
Yeah, he had a nice hit on Neary there. Really affected him trying to have any chance of getting that ball off.
Huge hit by the Spartans. So 3rd and 11, and the Eagles trying to come back in this one, down just a couple of scores, but against the top team in the state. Out of the split backs, little screen setup, it's caught underneath, and the Spartans sniff it out. Pickup of about 4 or 5, but not nearly enough for the first down as time expires here in the third period. The two teams will come to their sideline, talk things over. We've got the fourth quarter coming up. 12 more minutes separating the Spartans from perhaps their 8th victory of the year. The Issaquah Eagles need to get something done, a couple of scores at least in the next 12.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of tough on this series we just saw here. Jack Gallatley was not in on that screenplay. That's a play you want him in on. He can make something happen, but it's going to be tough if you're down him, your best ball player. Only a junior, but their best ball player. Going to be tough to make a comeback here in the fourth quarter on the road versus your in-conference rivals and pull one out here.
Well, they had to go to Tyler Sheehan a couple of times. We talked about that fullback play that didn't go anywhere, and then Sheehan was the receiver on the screen pass.
Yeah, and Sheehan, he's a serviceable guy, second team all KingCo last year, but he doesn't give you that X factor like Gallatley does, with the speed, agility, and catching ability. He can do those things, but not to the ability of Gallatley.
Of course, Gallatley also the punter for Issaquah, so we'll have to see if he's been able to make it back out onto the field. And I believe he is down there in this pouring rain. Always dangerous. He gets the punt off here, and it is Gallatley, as Sinatra will pick it up at his 39-yard line. Starts backwards, still going backwards. Now turns the corner, a little bit of running room. And he's finally bumped out of bounds near the 40-yard line by the Issaquah Eagles. So running backward to try and set up the lane, he found a good one on the sideline.
And you're exactly right. The key word there is, or the term is set up. Good job of getting upfield and then bending that corner to the right, setting up your wall on the right side. And they've had some good returns. I haven't had one for 6, but they've had some good returns for good field position tonight.
Now the rain continuing to pour here, and some of the fans trying to find their way to cover, as this is a little bit more wetness than they perhaps had bargained for. We all got a little lulled to sleep by our wonderful stretch of drought, but that was a little over a week ago. And here's the Spartan running game as Cooper keeps going. The first down and a bit more down near the 25-yard line.
Yeah, Cooper, he's put in some work tonight, making some nice runs, really, making it really tough on the Issaquah defense to wrap him up.
Cedric Cooper, one of the seniors playing here on senior night. 11.5 to go. They give it to Cooper again. Big hole up the middle. Another potential flash of lightning above the stadium, a little ways away. But still, always a little bit of concern when you see the flash of lightning in the sky. 11:26 to go. We've got a penalty against the Spartans. That'll march it back. And it's a big one.
You know, I should have known, Alex. We were not going to get out of here tonight without the rainfall coming. I've been here 3 times, and I'm pretty sure it's rained 2.
You're the unlucky charm with the weather here at Spartan Stadium. 1st and 15 now after the penalty flag. Max Brown looking over to the side. He's got trips to his left. Cooper on the draw. He's met in the hole and rushed down after a short gain. Issaquah getting in there. Eric Rao, the 6'2 senior linebacker, filling the gap. 220-pounder.
Yeah, that's a good job. Those draw plays are tough, especially when you play a team like Skyline that likes to toss the ball around. He did a good job of reading his keys and filling that gap quickly.
Should the Spartans punch it in here, it might be the final nail in the coffin. Still a 2-score game for Issaquah. Anything can happen there. You get out to 3 scores, it's a little tougher. Nice screen set up here. Good catch and run. And it's for the first down and inside the 10. That's Nick Splendorio.
Hey, if you're not going to come up and play press coverage or be more aggressive on those screen plays, if I'm Skyline, I still run the same play too if I'm Matt Taylor.
1st and goal as the Spartans hurry to the line. 4 receivers in the set, 2 to each side. They give it to Cooper. And he's met in the hole by about 3 or 4 white shirts. Gained a couple, though. It's going to be 2nd and goal from about the 6-yard line.
Yeah, you got to get pretty aggressive and try to rip that ball out if you're Issaquah. You cannot let Skyline get here in the end zone.
Well, here's a trivia question. When was the last time the Spartans went an entire game without a passing touchdown? There are 2 scores thus far via the ground. 1 for Max Brown, 1 for Cedric Cooper. This is a little wildcat action we've got out there. And this one fumbled as it goes out of bounds, as that is a different quarterback in there. It was not Max Brown. It was Cedric Cooper running the wildcat.
Yeah, they tried a little trickeration and get Max Brown his big height advantage right back there in the back of the end zone. But once again, Rouch right there to be in the middle of that play and break that up.
So 3rd and goal now from the 6-yard line. Brown will spread them out. Empty backfield here for the vaunted senior. Blitz shown by the Eagles, and in there on the blitz for the moment. Here's a shovel pass for the score from Brown. Oh, my goodness. Touchdown, Skyline.
Hey, that's why Max Brown is Max Brown, why he's rated so highly. I mean, that was a great rush by Issaquah. They got there quick, but Max Brown reacted even quicker and did a nice little shovel pass there in the end zone.
Sinatro on the other end of the short 6-yard reception, but what a catch. And right now, a brief pause here. If this was the NFL, there might have been a review or something, or even college, but certainly not the case here in high school. Splendid play from Max Brown and his buddy Sinatro. Try for point is up, and it is good from Sean McDonald. So with 9:35 to go in the ball game, Max Brown gets the first passing touchdown of the contest, and it's not the prettiest one you'll ever see, but it gets the job done.
Right, yeah. Whatever gets the job done is what Max Brown did there. But getting to the situation at hand here, 9 minutes, 35 seconds. You're down 3 possessions. Issaquah, you haven't passed the ball well. We're not sure if Gallatley's going to be in on this series. I'm pretty sure he's a competitor. He's going to be out there, but boy, a lot to ask for to try to come back down 21.
And in a driving rainstorm to boot.
Right.
So the Eagles will have to try and find an answer. One thing about Jack Neary, a young quarterback, and talking with part of their coaching staff before the game, good talent, but just needs some more experience, needs more reps.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's only a junior, so, he has next year to come back, has all summer and spring to fine-tune his skills.
This is an Issaquah team that started the season, preseason top 10 in the 4A classification. However, you look at the youth, Jack Galatly, he's a junior. Jack Neary, the quarterback, junior. So this could be a pretty loaded team next year if they can find their stride. The kickoff to the Eagles, they're able to run it back to maybe the 20-yard line, and that's where they'll have to see if they can get a good drive put together to get on this scoreboard. Skyline, a team that has run up and down on the scoreboard. They've also allowed teams to put points on the board. In fact, the lowest defensive output that Skyline has had this year is limiting a team to 14 points. So where they've lacked in that department, they're certainly making up for it this evening here, pitching a shutout thus far.
Yeah, we've talked about, how we've been somewhat impressed with Issaquah's ability to keep themselves in the game, not necessarily shut down Skyline, but, hey, you got to give Skyline even more credit putting up a shutout here.
Here's Neary to the air, as they need to do here, and a nice pickup on the out route of about 8 yards, finding Reed Peterson.
Yeah, and see, this is, you're playing into the hands of Skyline here. They know you got to pass. They could take a chance, maybe jumping a route, and especially with their pass rush. Light your hair on fire and get back there and try to get to Jack Neary of Issaquah.
9:22 to go in the ball game, and the Eagles needing to be efficient to try and get back into this one. A handoff back there. Galatly stymied one direction, and he tries to go the other one, dragging green shirts with him. He's going to lose a few. But good to see him back in the game, though.
Right, yeah. If they're going to have any kind of postseason push here, you're going to have him healthy and ready to go.
This is about as big a rainstorm as we've seen in quite a while on a Friday night here in Washington. In fact, I'd probably say as big a downpour as we've seen all season here in the Plateau area. Been up here for a few games. One at Eastside Catholic, one at Eastlake, all on 228th Street out here, all within just a couple miles of one another. In fact, less distance than that. Here's Neary trying to get away. He wanted to be a few miles away from the defenders for Skyline, but not going to be the case as the Spartans able to turn back this Eagle offense who was trying to go to the air and just could not get it done.
Yeah, just hold on to the ball there too long, and looks like that was number 56, Eric Wagner, getting back to Neary there. Just hold on to the ball too much and trying to scramble, trying to make something happen. And like I said, they knew they could get out to the quarterback with Issaquah being down 21. No choice but to pass the ball.
Sinatro standing on the 50-yard line to receive this kick from Galatly that finds its way into that wet sky and bounds, stays in play, fielded at the 35 by Sinatro, and he's leveled under. And a penalty flag also thrown in just a few yards away.
Could be maybe that was a late flag, so not sure what that was.
We'll see how they rule it. Gavin Anderson and his crew have been busy here tonight. Personal foul. This one against the Spartans, and they'll have it. They'll just have to march it back a few yards. But right now I think they're content to try and run the clock out. Perhaps they may go to the air, but they've got bigger fish to fry coming up next week as they'll face either Bothell or Woodinville for the KingCo Championship.
Yeah, and no matter who you play in that, you're going to get their best shot. And, like I said, Bothell played them pretty well early on in that first game of the season when those two matched up. But, looking at this game, I kind of had three things I wanted to see Issaquah do to try to pull off this upset. One, Alex, was, try to keep Skyline off balance. They did to a degree, but they weren't able to execute on those deep pass, put up the play action. The other one was get Jack Galatly going. Had some nice runs, but not big enough game to where he's going to, win this game single-handedly. And the other one was take the lead early. They were not able to put up any points in the first half, and so far they've been stymied here in the second half.
Yep, despite the efforts of Jack Gallatley, it's been the passing game that has struggled. Brown going to hand off after a little bit of misdirection in the backfield. Here's Cooper with another nice run. He's out of bounds. Given a good shove, he gets out to the 32. Good enough for the first down. With 7:45 now to go in this rainstorm here at Spartan Stadium.
Boy,
no signs of letting up.
Cedric Cooper, he'll make you miss. I mean, not a huge guy, 5'10", 165, 170 range as far as weight, but he's a good solid back, and he fits this offense well.
Brown putting a man in motion. Little fly sweep fake, and they hand it off to Cooper, who's met in the hole by several Eagles. And the rain, if it couldn't come down any harder, it just found another gear.
Big time gear. It is coming down.
7:21 to go. We should be used to it up here in the Northwest, but I'm not sure these teams have practiced much in the rain this season. Usually by this time you've had half dozen wet practices.
Well, I mean, we had a great summer too, so we've been
half
spoiled.
dozen. Yeah, how about a dozen wet practices or so? Here's Brown, going to be undaunted as he finds a receiver at midfield. That's Sinatro, and he's got the first down pickup of about 16.
Yeah, good tackle by Derek Chapman there, though, to stop that gang from being any larger than it was there.
Well, if he breaks that one, he could really have gone for a huge gain.
Right.
And as we've talked about the Eagles, they've really not allowed anything deep.
No.
At all.
And that's a formula for success, but with that success of playing solid defense, keeping things in front of it, you got to be able to match some points to what Skyline's put up, and they haven't been able to do that.
Brown with twins to either side. He's got Cooper offset to his left. And they give it to Cooper. Hard running in there. Nearly lost the handle as he's brought down by one of the Eagles. And he's showing some good sportsmanship out there as Eric Rao offering a hand to the man he just tackled and pulling him back up. And that's just an example of what high school athletics is all about.
Yeah, we've actually called Eric Rao's name a lot at that middle linebacker spot for Issaquah.
Rao hoping to play football at the next level in college and pursue a degree in engineering. We can certainly use more of those. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, absolutely.
Not a bad route to go.
5:44 to go. Second down and 6 for Max Brown and the Spartans working on that 21-point lead. Little fake and little fling over to Sinatro, who's close to the first down marker, but going to be a little bit short.
Yeah, sometimes with these spread attack offenses, teams have a tough time, kind of milking the clock down. But, like I said, Skyline's a great team, got good guys up front blocking, so they're able to get the job done in this offense.
Well, they work the sidelines here, which is not great for moving the clock, as you mentioned.
Right.
And they get out of bounds on those plays. You'd think that the roles were reversed and they were trying to keep and preserve the clock, but there's a give to Cooper. Tried the inside, didn't find any room. Didn't find any room outside either. Good stop by the Eagles defense on 3rd and short. Held them to no gain, and now we'll see what the Spartans choose to do. At the 39, they need to get just short, or rather at the 41, they need to get just shy of the 39, so a little less than 2 yards to go. Could punt to pin them back, but I think they'll go for it here and see if they can maintain control of the ball.
Yeah, go ahead and put Issaquah away if you get this.
Under 5 to play now. Brown going to keep it himself. Calls his own number. Little collision. And he's able to push forward for the first down and a couple more.
Yeah, he's a good enough athlete to get you, 3-4 yards on a play like that, especially if the blocking up front is just right. And when he's had opportunities tonight to run, for those short gains, he's been successful.
And with the run, the clock able to keep moving, and we're starting to see the crowd thin out a bit with the rains as well as the score on the board. But Issaquah definitely keeping this one a ball game for a lot longer than most pundits would have imagined. Cooper met in the hole, and the reason why they were able to keep this one as close as they did, plays like that from Eric Rao.
Yeah, he's been all over the field, and their pass rush has been adequate, not outstanding, but it's been good enough to give yourself a chance. And like you said, they're back in the secondary, with Gallatley, Chapman. Those guys have done a good job of keeping things in front of them the whole game.
3:51 and counting down, so Skyline now working the clock a little bit. They'll go to the air here, or at least try to. Brown getting away from trouble one time, finds the open receiver on the sideline, Splendorio, who stays in bounds and is able to capture the first down.
Yeah, good job of Brown making something happen there with his feet, keeping his eyes downfield and completing the pass. So keep the chains moving.
Skyline last week scoring 56 points in a win over Newport, 64 against Ballard, 67 against Garfield, 57 against Roosevelt, 71 against Coeur d'Alene, 57 against Cottonwood of Utah, and 33 in the opener against Bothell. Limited to just 21 thus far here tonight. Here's the handoff again. Cooper, who's got a score in this one, falls forward after a gain of 4, maybe 5. And we'll see if Skyline's able to put this in, even if they get on the board. This is going to be their lowest output of the night, and something that the Eagles defensively will have to take a little bit of pride at as they look to sustain their season here with just another week to go in the crossover game.
Right, and better yet, heck, they may be setting up a blueprint for teams in the playoffs. Hey, take a look at what we did here, some of the adjustments and things we did, and, they're going to play some highly rated teams, Skyline, in the playoffs. So, hey, you never know, a team that has actually had some pretty good success this year could, maybe catch them sleeping if they come out slow, with a slow start again.
Cooper on the carry one more time, keeping the clock moving and keeping at least the down marker moving, and some extended shenanigans here after the play. And one of the Eagles players is down here. And I believe that is Chaz Peterson, 6-foot senior linebacker, who remains down.
Yeah, but you also wonder, too, like I said, this is their lowest output. Like you were saying earlier, senior night, last game here, you got the KingCo invite to the championship locked up. You wonder if that had anything, but along with their couple slow starts they've had on the year, you wonder if some of that had a little bit to do with it. But no doubt about it, Issaquah put up a fight. Just not able to connect on any uppercuts and body shots.
Peterson helped off the field here to a round of applause from the fans. PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here. The Spartans looking to try and defend their state championship from a year ago, as are the Spartans girls swim and dive team, as well as the girls soccer team as well. We'll have some state championship action for girls soccer as well as volleyball and swim and dive coming up in November for you here on PlayOnSports.com. Stay tuned and see what we have in store for you in the weeks to come. Here's a handoff to Cooper as he rumbles inside the 10, still on his feet, finally dragged down at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, had a host of Eagles trying to bring him down. Took Jack Gallatley there to finish him off, get him down to the ground.
Under 2 to play now, and at this juncture of the game, Skyline could potentially just run out the clock. As you know, this is a rivalry game and such within the school district, but, a team like Skyline, they've got a lot of rivals. You've got your in-district rival here with Issaquah. Mm-hmm. You got your local rivals here, Eastside Catholic just down the street, Eastlake also just down the street, all three of them literally within a mile or so here on the plateau, and they are going to go into victory formation as Max Brown takes the knee, just as we kind of talked about. These are guys you're going to see. You probably even have a cousin. You got a friend. You got a neighbor. You see him at church. You see him at the mall. You see him all kinds of different places. And so you want to beat him on the field, but you certainly don't want to rub it in. And I think here in this driving rain and a hard-fought battle, I think they have to think about this one and say, really great game from Issaquah tonight. We appreciate the effort and the toughness that you've shown, and we're not going to try to do any more than we need to tonight.
Yeah, and the one word that just describes that is just class. They've won their championships. They know how to win. So good job by the Skyline staff and head coach Matt Taylor showing some class and respect here to Issaquah.
And it's now going to be 3rd down, and we'll see if they have to take a knee one time. And I guess the one more thing to add as well is that Skyline's had a lot of practice in this formation, certainly during the season and over the years, that's right. For sure. One more snap ought to do it here as we're under 30 seconds now, and Brown just kind of timing this one out. As he will snap it, take a knee, and the rest is academic. Not the score we would have thought it was going to be, but I'll tell you what, one heck of a rivalry game between the Skyline Spartans as well as the Issaquah Eagles. As the final seconds will tick down here, the Skyline Spartans remain undefeated. They improved to 8-0, 5-0 in conference. Gear up for a KingCo Championship showdown next week. The Issaquah Eagles fall to 4-4 on the year, 2-3 in league action, and are going to be scrapping to try and get in to the postseason.
Yeah, they've really just that's kind of been their whole mantra this year, trying to scrap and fight, but made mistakes here and there throughout the season and just have come up short. Last week they lost Jake Volk, their left tackle, so a lot of expectations coming into this year. But like I said, some young key players in Jack Neri and Jack Galatlis. So they got some things to build on, but just an off season so far. So you're right, they're just scrapping, trying to get in there. Great effort, but just not enough so far this season.
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to stay tuned to PlayOnSports.com for our brief post-game coverage. We'll wrap up all the action in our post-game show. That's coming up in just a few moments. Once again, the Skyline Spartans have defeated the Issaquah Eagles 21-0 on Friday Night Football here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back to a rainy Sammamish, Washington, and the PlayOnSports.com postgame show. I'm Alex Webster alongside Taj Bomar, and we just saw the top-ranked team in the state of Washington, the Skyline Spartans, battle it out in a rivalry showdown with their school district rivals, the Issaquah Eagles. And the Eagles, a top 10 team at the beginning of the year, have struggled a little bit. But, boy, they came out tough and really held the Skyline Spartans down offensively. Their lowest offensive output of the year in this rivalry battle in a rainstorm throughout a good portion of this game. But you can't underscore enough the defensive effort for the Eagles. But again, the Spartans, they just find a way to win.
Yeah, being a former linebacker myself, I had a lot of respect for what Issaquah tried to do out there tonight. It just wasn't enough. They would have had to be Superman out there and get some turnovers, score some points themselves. But like I said, they let Skyline score on that first drive, their first drive in the second half, but just not enough overall, not a good enough team effort to come out and beat the number one Satan team, even if they are on a slow start like they were tonight for Skyline.
Skyline took the opening kick, and they took some time to score their first down. They went the length of the field, nearly 80 yards, and they used most of the first quarter. They finally scored on a 3-yard touchdown run by Max Brown with 4:37 to go in the first quarter. They added the extra point to go up, but they did not score again until the third quarter. And it took a lot of attention. In fact, things were getting a little tense. The Eagles had some opportunities to try and get back in this one, but just could not find their way. Eventually, Skyline would get on the board again on a 19-yard run by Cedric Cooper with 7:52 to go in the third, and they put the final nail in the coffin with 9:35 left to go in the game when Max Brown got flushed a little bit, got into the middle, was nearly being dragged down, and pushed a pass, almost a basketball pass,
right,
a chest pass with two hands, finding Matt Sinatra in the end zone for the lone touchdown pass of the game, a 6-yarder.
Yeah, he wasn't extraordinary tonight, but he was good enough to elevate his team to the win, made enough plays we needed to. He was sacked. They got to him a little bit tonight, but he stayed calm, and that's one thing that from watching film and watching this Skyline team play, they don't get rattled. Just because they're down, they're tight, they're in a bind, they won't get rattled. They'll keep a even kill, and they did tonight and got the 21-0 win here.
Well, we talked about this a little bit, and we felt for our players of the game that Max Brown kind of de facto, you want to look for another guy in the mix of everything to be able to get that award, but he scores a couple of touchdowns here, one via pass, one via run. And then for Issaquah, we just really thought we needed to name a defensive player in their effort as well because of limiting Skyline to their lowest offensive output of the year. And Eric Rao, it seemed like we called his name forever, the linebacker for the Issaquah Eagles.
Yeah, he was all over the field, and like I said, they had a good defensive effort. He was a key part in that, and coming up on stuffing up some of those runs, getting out there, running to the ball. But good effort by him, but just not good enough overall.
Skyline goes to 8-0, maintains their top spot in not only the state, but certainly in the KingCo Crown Division. They will battle with either Bothell or Woodinville next week, the Crest Division champion, for the KingCo title. Another accolade along the way for the many seniors on this Skyline Spartan team. That's the next thing in front of them for the Issaquah Eagles. They'll have a crossover game next week, and they'll need to likely win that one in order to maintain their season. So that's what's on tap. But that's going to wrap it up from Spartan Stadium, where the Skyline Spartans defeated the Issaquah Eagles by a score of 21-0. We'd like to thank you for joining PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football from Sammamish, Washington. Be sure to check PlayOnSports.com for information and links to all of our upcoming broadcasts. For our producer, Nathaniel Jackson, our videographer, Martin Stows, and my partner, Taj Bomar, I'm Alex Webster saying so long, and we hope you'll join us next Friday on your destination for high school sports and Friday Night Football, PlayOnSports.com. Good night, everybody.